Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
To Fajardo. Your thoughts on him starting, if he is starting, and by them putting him at the top of the depth chart, I got to think he'll start. You?
Yeah, he's at least good enough to play or to dress. And if it's the case that he's not going to start, then at least he's comfortable enough to go. And we've seen quarterbacks listed number one on the depth chart that never see the field. That can happen. But it is good news. I do think, as much as, the viewers mentioned that Cody will never pull himself, and he never will pull himself, and he's a gamer and a competitor, I'd like to think that the advice from the doctors and the therapy staff and everybody else that says, look, this is the further damage you could do, or this is how much worse it could get, or these are the consequences. I think if he's looking at, playing and it could end up being something that becomes a career-ending injury or whatever, I don't think he'd be playing. I think if it's a pain tolerance thing and managing that and a little bit of mobility, I think he's going to play. And I think even Cody at less than 100% for Saskatchewan.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show. Right now, Darrin.
Andre Dupont, the old Philadelphia Flyer tough guy, was nicknamed Moose.
And you being a tough guy.
Right. But in hockey, when I was younger, another player came across the middle and made the most devastating check I've ever made in my life. Take off the helmet, and it's a girl. And so the coach slapped it. Attaboy, Moose. Just like the Moose. And I'm like, I have no idea who that is, right?
The one sports show where roughing is encouraged.
How about that? Happy Friday, everybody. Fun here on the Rod Pedersen Show. Rod's taking a day off. You can believe that. Rod Pedersen's taking a day off. He's off to the mountains to find the turquoise water, Lake Louise, Banff. He's doing all those things, and he is into the weekend already, and we're happy to have you along here for the RP Show on this Friday. Lots to get to today. I'll run through the guest list first. Mo Khan's going to join us from Montreal. On the heels of that Montreal Alouettes loss, talk about Trevor Harris. We're going to talk about where the Alouettes are at. They've had a lot of turmoil this season, including a change at coach. We'll also talk to Mo about the Montreal Canadiens, who have also had a wonderful offseason. It's been really busy. They've made some noise. We'll get Mo's grade on the Montreal Canadiens as well. Justin Dunk will join us as well later on here in hour one. Dunk from 3 Down Nation will tee up the rest of the weekend in the CFL. We're going to get into NFL training camp details with Justin, and we might even talk a little university football. We definitely will more in hour two when Darrin Bauming joins us from Bonfire Sports Winnipeg to get a look at the Bombers and preview this weekend's heavyweight tilt between the Bombers and the Calgary Stampeders on Saturday night. Jim Mullin, the president of Football Canada, he's been busy. Football Canada Cups, he's been at U18s, all over social media, handing out trophies. Jim Mullin will be along later in hour two. But let's bring him in. Lee Genier, the new COO of this whole organization, is joining me off the top here and maybe a little bit later on in hour two. How are you, Lee?
I'm fantastic. It's Friday of a long weekend. It's fabulous.
Absolutely. What is it? What's the weather like in Calgary? I know it's been a couple weeks since I've been in town, but it's going to be 30 degrees here in the sweatpants capital. Beautiful blue skies. It's going to be great.
Yeah, it's 32 degrees here today, so I'm going to find some water and cool off today after the show. So.
Perfect. Well,
I'm going to be like one of those grizzlies and just go find a pool.
Just go, bask in the water and in the sun. I love it. It's funny being on this side of the chair. I mean, I'm still in the same spot. Everything's still the same. I'm on the other side of everybody's. But, again, it's funny because hosting the show is a little different. A lot more responsibility. I brought in a second monitor here. I've got the text line opened up. Got the YouTube chat going. So we say good morning to everybody, to Wayne and Monty and Christine. Monty, miss you, buddy. Good to see you in the chat, Monty, and Randy's watching as well. So this is pretty great. Got everything set up here, but every day I get all locked in. We have a great conversation with Rod, just like on the screen, like you and I did, and then these guys go to the 3-minute countdown screen that what people see on YouTube, and every day at that time I get up and leave. Okay. And it probably drives Jordan and Clark nuts. They're like, he's leaving now. Don't know if I'm coming back. What happened? But it's a routine now. It's become routine. So every day, the last thing I do before the show starts, I've got 3 minutes. Go, sure the hair is good, make a cup of coffee, which I've got here, brand new coffee. But, I was just thinking about that I was doing that when I was hosting, and probably not the best. So much more at the controls here to handle. That we're off and running. So it's going to be okay, right?
Fantastic.
Good. Today on the show, we will get to a little bit of everything. But Jordan, why don't you hit the quick 6 show topics, and let's get into last night's game. I think. There it is. All right. We got it. Thursday night football in the Canadian Football League, and everybody's talking about Trevor Harris, the quarterback situation. Hamilton beats Montreal 24-17 in the Thursday night game. A big win, but they're talking about the end of that game. Trevor Harris takes a hit from the former UBC Thunderbird, Stavros Katsantonis. It was flagged for 15 yards, and the concussion spotters pull the Alouettes quarterback out of the game. Harris had played pretty well, 288 yards. He had a touchdown pass, was trying to engineer the comeback. He gets yanked. Dominic Davis comes in, final moments of that game, throws the interception. Alouettes can't finish the comeback. They can't tie the game. I know it's part of the business. Lee, did the concussion spotters get it right? You saw Trevor Harris on the sidelines. He was pissed off, right? He didn't want to get pulled from the game in that moment. And I know player safety is so important, but what was your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a fine line. Obviously, he did get pulled. When he was upset, you could see the look on his face because they had an opportunity to tie that game at 24. So, I mean, from his perspective, yeah, he would have wanted to stay in the game. He's a competitor, and really, show what he's got, and to get pulled at that moment. But when the league has instituted, of course, those in the concussion protocols for a reason, and they obviously saw something that maybe we don't. And I've been part of sports for a lot of years, and guys played with concussions, so it is a real fine line, and they probably made the right call in pulling him. Even though Trevor Harris would have thought that was awful at the time. So, and taking the loss as well. So,
yeah, it's never a good situation, especially when you lose. But it brings us to the game tonight where Saskatchewan voted to start. Let's off the depth chart, and he's dealing with the MCL injury and the knees, and is he 100%? We don't mess around. The concussion's a little bit different. We don't mess around with the brain injury. Very careful. We've seen the Guardian cap, right, in the NFL, and Rod and I were talking about that earlier this week, practicing with those. It's all about reducing injury. But how much, do we need to take these decisions out of the players' hands, and how much do we need to let the players make their own decisions? We're still looking at Cody today, potentially playing tonight.
Yeah, and you know what is players are always going to some degree play hurt. I mean, it's a rough game, so. And when I say that, you're going to play with, you're not going to feel your best, but it's, like with Fajardo playing tonight, I'm sure that he is going to, be in a spot where he's saying he's ready. Is he 100%? Probably not. Again, Craig Dickinson doesn't want him to get hurt. Nobody wants to see him get further hurt down the road, right? So I'm sure they'll be monitoring him and see how he does in the first quarter, second quarter, and probably make a decision at halftime, right? So, I mean, football players are, and just professional athletes are natural competitors, right? So they'll fight to the end generally.
Cavalli's watching on YouTube. We'll go to the YouTube comments because I've got it pulled up. Cavalli says, better to pull him and be wrong than to not pull him and he's permanently injured. 100% right. That's with all the injuries. You're absolutely right about that. More into the comment. Kirk's watching, says, good morning, Moose. Bo's watching. Good morning, Saskatoon. Good morning, Bo. Jeffrey Townend is in. Randy, Christine. It's going to be 36 degrees in Medicine Hat today. So how about that? Busy day. Or,
how about that?
One in Medicine Hat. How about that? 36 degrees. Going to be wild. So we'll get more on that. We'll talk to Justin Dunk about that one. But point 2, Friday night football. The Saskatchewan Roughriders and the BC Lions tonight. Rod's commentary this morning was about that game and about Cody Fajardo playing. And the first time that Rod can remember in a long while where the Riders at home were an underdog, 1.5-point underdog to the BC Lions. And the story of the CFL, I think, is still Nathan Rourke, but he's been able to do, Lee. No thoughts on?
Yeah, I mean, Nathan Rourke has been lighting it up, right? So, I mean, going into Mosaic, I think it'll be a little bit of a different game tonight, to be quite honest. And I think that whenever you're playing home in Mosaic, it's going to be a different energy level too. So, I know the Lions are our favorite, but you know what? I'm going to go with the Riders tonight taking this one. So I think the Riders secondary are going to be tough on Nathan Rourke tonight. So
I love it. Taking the Riders as the 1.5-point dogs in this game against BC tonight. And Friday night or Saturday night's Winnipeg and Calgary. That's the heavyweight matchup. And that brings us to our Capital Auto Mall Universal Collision Center poll question. Which game, and I don't know exactly, Clark, if you can tell me how it's worded, but which game means more? Which is more intriguing to you as a fan? Is it the Saskatchewan Roughriders in BC battling for positioning? Who's going to enter that top tier in the CFL West? Who's going to, take a step back? Or is it the battle for first? Winnipeg and Calgary. Vote now on YouTube, on Twitter, I believe. I don't know if we have any early results, do we? 56% saying Winnipeg, Calgary. So it's very close to 50-50. And that's what you wanted of a poll question. Divisive. Which game are you looking most forward to, Lee? Is it Saturday night's clash for first?
Well, I'm looking forward to both of them, but tomorrow night is going to be a huge one. Obviously, I think the Stamps put out a release that they were at about 25,000 tickets. It's going to be 30 degrees here, and the Stamps have something to prove, having lost to Winnipeg last week. So I'm going with Calgary tomorrow night, and I think it's going to be a hard fought battle tomorrow. So.
That's going to be a fun one. I still took Winnipeg when we played Deal or No Deal earlier this week. I got to take the Bombers until somebody beats them. I'll be wrong at some point, but I'm rolling with Winnipeg in that one on Saturday. Okay, moving on. Point 3. The Toronto Blue Jays announced a $300 million renovation. Talked about this a little bit with the Rashman, but I wanted to talk to you about this, and we were talking about it this morning because you've been in those front offices and ran professional sports teams. What was your first reaction when you saw that there was going to be a $300 million renovation to the Rogers place?
Yeah, well, Rogers is getting dated, right? I mean, built in 1989. When Ted Rogers bought Rogers, he bought it for $25 million, which got it for a song. So it is due for some renos. And since having the Argos move out there, they haven't made any renovations. So they need it to make it a more baseball park specific, and that's what those $300 million are really taking us towards, which I think is great. You know what? If you are commanding a top dollar from fans to go watch a game, then you need to make some improvements to your stadium. And like I say, fans will go to a premium and pay a premium, but they want to go to a premium stadium. And we know around Canada we have some old stadiums. McMahon Stadium, obviously, about 101 years old. So, that is really important, just to keep your fan base happy and intriguing, right? It's like doing renos on your house and all the new shiny toys that they'll put in there as well.
100%. And I mean, talking about Calgary having an old stadium, and how much, as when you're running a front office, do you hear about the quality of the stadium from fans? Or do fans, tend to block out that and it's more about the experience? How much does facility, experience, what you do in the facility, how much does that weigh into the experience and the feedback you get as an organization?
Oh, you get a ton of feedback, for sure. I mean, when I was running the Stamps, we had fairly archaic system in there, in lack of washrooms. I mean, when the stadium was originally built, it was built for 20,000 people. So, when, people, again, go into the game and they want to grab, a drink, and they want to use the facilities, they want to be quick. And sometimes you were hearing stories of it taking a quarter for people to do that and missing a game. So, you know what, fans, again, they want easy access. They want to be able to grab a beer or pop and a hot dog quickly, get back to their seats, right? So I used to hear about it all the time. And, and people want to enjoy themselves when they're going to a game, right? That's the whole impetus of going to a game, is going there, making it easy, getting food service in the seats, getting the beer in your seats, and enjoying. So that's, again, going back to where stadiums and the front offices, man, they need to click on that for sure.
Totally. And I know we're running up against it, and hopefully we'll get you back on here in overtime. But when you're thinking about that, it's a lot about dollars in, dollars out, right? And, we've talked about that with Edmonton and the Elks running the pregame concert, that they'd sell any extra tickets because of, quantifying those results. Are the Jays going to see $300 million in added revenue because they've made these upgrades? Probably not all at once. But over time, it's going to improve the experience, and you hope. So how much long-term thinking is there still in sport? Because I've seen so much of it is, everybody's really short-sighted. We have to do something today that's going to bring in dollars today, because I'm not worried about having this job 10 years from now, right? But this seems more like a longer-term play.
Yeah, it is for sure. And I think you have to keep your eye on the future, because, when you're building fans are not built overnight. It's a process in any sport. And you always have to be looking towards the future. And you see in the U.S., I mean, they blow up literally brand new stadiums to build a new one, right? So, and you see what kind of attraction the fans have when you have a new stadium. It's great. It draws fans out. So it is hugely important. Like I say, there's the wins today, and then there's the wins 5-10 years down your strategic planning as well. So, it is hugely important.
I'll leave it on this. Don Mitchell says that's why our phone rates are so high. We got to pay for the Sky Dome renos. So, but
Bingo!
Maybe.
Don't
not,
get me started on that.
Lee, we've got a list a mile long, and we barely scratched the surface. So we'll make sure we have an extra long segment at the end. We can get into a few more of these things, okay?
Okay, I look forward to seeing you back here in overtime.
Awesome. Thank you to Lee Genier, our new COO and co-host of the RP Show as well today. We got lots going on. The text line is open, 902-518-3033. I'll jump into that coming up, and we're going to go, I believe, to Montreal next and join MoCon. That's all ahead. It's the Rod Pedersen Show here on YouTube Live, Game Plus TV, and wherever you get your podcast.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. The summer of hockey in Alberta continues, and the future of Team Canada is bright. The 2022 World Juniors return to Edmonton August 9th to 20th.
Single game tickets available from $40. Buy now at hockeycanada.ca.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience. Find us at ddgregina.com.
Are you ready? It's finally time for your next adventure, and it starts at Capital Ford. Custom order the perfect new vehicle for you, or reserve one of the hundreds that's already built and on its way. Can't wait? Get into a pre-owned vehicle that's already on the lot and ready to rock. Plus, the American Export event is back and bigger than ever. We'll send your vehicle south, making you the most money for your trade. Guaranteed. Oh, and for a limited time, all name brand tires are employee priced. Only at Capital Ford Lincoln. Your adventure starts here.
Lot of sun, smoky in the air, that's a lot of fun. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
A legend throws 713 yards in a single pro football game.
A legend wins 3 Grey Cup MVP awards.
Allen looking deep.
A legend scores 1,209 points in 1,127 NHL games. Play among legends at betregal.net.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hey, honey, can you get one of the kids to show me how this Twitter thing works? Honey, I need to get on Instagram. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
All right, welcome back to the show. Rod's got the day off, so Darren Dupont in the chair here. Text line is open, 902-518-3033. Get your texts in now. We'll get them on the air for me, one of our next guests, or for Mo Khan, who joins us from TSN Radio in Montreal. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm well, Darren. A little bit under the weather with a sinus infection, but we're better for the weekend coming up.
Okay, all right. You know, I didn't tell you this, but I'm going to be in your city this weekend. Leanne and I are coming out, as a 3 or 4 day little stop before we head over to Niagara for the Canada Games. So what's good? Tell me what's good this weekend, and what's new in Montreal I got to see.
Well, it depends, Darren. What do you want to do in the city of mine?
You know what? I like going to Old Montreal. Honestly, I just want to eat bagels and drink coffee and all the cool spots you guys got there, and hang out by the water. But I'm going to miss it's not the. Go ahead.
I was thinking 2 places, right? Cafe Olympico in Old Montreal. One of the better coffee spots in the city, Cafe Olympico. And if you want bagels, you're going to have to leave Old Montreal, though. You have to go to St. Viator for your bagels in Montreal.
That's the number. I've been there every single time, man. That's the spot. I totally get it. And the market up in Jean Talon, and we'll do tourists, man. We'll do it all.
I hope you enjoy.
It'll be pretty good. How is the city of Montreal doing today? How did you describe the Alouettes, I was trying to look at it. A crisis club at halftime, and nearly smell like roses at the end. Explain.
That's what they are. The Alouettes this year, Darren, have been a team that unfortunately coming in, a lot of question marks. We knew Kahari Jones was on the hot seat and unfortunately lost his job a few weeks ago with Dan Matrocha taking over now. But this team, at where they're at this point of the year, 2-5, could very well be 2-6 with Winnipeg coming in next Thursday at Molson Stadium. They have to get their ducks in order. And in yesterday's game against the Ticats was a perfect conclusion of how it was for them that, hey, at the end of the day, they couldn't get the points early and often in the first half. They made a run in the final 8 minutes of that football game. If they had maybe 4 or 5 more minutes extra, they'd probably beat the Ticats in Tim Hortons Field. So I think now people are going to ask questions like, can they win this football? Can they win more football games in a rather weak East Division as we speak? But they can ill afford to lose games like they did yesterday to Hamilton and almost nearly lose to Ottawa last Thursday in Ottawa. So they got to clean up some stuff here, Darren. If they do that, they might be a better team going towards the second half of the season.
Obviously, everybody's talking about the way that game ended. Trevor Harris getting pulled, and he was visibly upset, and you can understand that. And, Dominic Davis comes in and throws the interception. But it's not like they were leading the football game or even tied, and he threw a pick six to close it. They were trailing in that football game and still weren't doing enough. So where do you put the blame here? What's wrong with the Alouettes, and how do you fix it?
Well, yesterday the O-line did not play well. They gave up 5 sacks. That can happen. You're playing a Ticat team that they're a bit banged up, but, that front four for Hamilton's pretty good. And we saw that yesterday for what they did to really control the line of scrimmage on both sides of the football. I think also when you think about this team right now, it's Gino Lewis and everyone else for the receiving corps. So he's got to develop, Trevor Harris, a rapport with Jake Wenicky, who had the most touchdown catches last year in the CFL with 11, and this year has done absolutely nothing due to injuries and him trying to get himself back in shape. So I think that is going to be key for them, but also missing William Stanback has hurt the running game, which took a lot of the question marks off of the quarterback play the last couple of years for what he did as a ball carrier. So I think for Dan Machocha, for Anthony Calvillo, they got to get that back in focus here, because if they don't do that, Darren, going towards that Winnipeg game, and that schedule in August is a little bit more trickier because they do have a bye week. By the time we hit Labor Day weekend where they play Ottawa before we go into the weekend games that we have in the CFL, who knows? They might have 3, maybe 4 wins at best by the time we hit that Labor Day break in early September.
I can't imagine that happening, especially talent on that roster. And where they had built the last couple of seasons, it seemed like there was momentum coming with the organization. So I go to Danny Machocha, who takes over. And what sense are you getting in terms of what the game plan is there for the future? Do you see Machocha finishing the season on the sidelines? Where do you see this going even beyond that?
Yeah, he's going to finish the season as the interim head coach for this year. I don't think they have the funds to go out there and get themselves a permanent head coach as we speak. And also, if there's a guy that they want from a different CFL team, it's going to be very tricky to kind of pry that out of there. So he'll be the guy for now, but it gives him a firsthand look at what he has on the football field, right? So these guys, they're not out of the playoff window yet, but it makes these guys to believe that, hey, they have to play better. They have to show that they can be a part of this franchise moving beyond 2022. And I think for Dan Machocha, Kahari Jones wasn't his guy, so he'll get his chance to hire that guy. Whether it's Noel Thorpe, maybe Jason Moss could be in play as well, or someone else in that category. They will have to do a thorough job of interviewing guys from East Coast to West Coast, North and South, whatever it is. But I think for Gary Stern, the owner of this franchise, Gary's a guy that has been very vocal on social media. We've seen it all throughout the course of this year. And if you recall, when he was introduced to the Montreal Alouette owner back in 2020 in January, he said Grey Cup. And that's okay. Owners want to win Grey Cups or want to win the championship of the respective sport that they own of that team. And I just think now, moving towards the regime of Machocha for now, whoever he hires, it's got to be the right hire that's going to put sustainability back into this franchise of wins and making sure that Gary Stern is going to be happy about that. Because for all intents and purposes, Darren, if it flames out with Dan Machocha, where do they go next? There isn't anyone after that, though, in my book. So I think for Dan Machocha, he knows the pressure is probably on him to make that right call. And if they do find that right coach, hopefully for him and for Gary Stern, it probably into victories and maybe Grey Cup appearances and hopefully a Grey Cup or 2 along the way. Because if it doesn't, this franchise, we talked about it 3-4 years ago, they were on thin ice And we don't want that to happen again for a team like Montreal that has a really strong football fan base here, but has not seen that rekindled yet. And hopefully now with this new regime, it does happen.
I want to turn this into, let's start looking at the next coach, look beyond this season. We're only a third of the way through the season, and the coach is, the guy in charge. But, a name I haven't heard enough of, or what's the impact of Anthony Calvillo, in the football sport? I know his personality is more polite and quiet and reserved. And do you see Anthony Calvillo ever being a head coach in the Canadian Football League?
Not right now, Darren. I don't see that happening as we speak, because he was fast-tracked towards the OC job in 2015, 2016. He wasn't ready for it, and it showed. And he went to University of Montreal to kind of get himself more experience at that level. They had success at U of M with what he did, and now he's back in the CFL. I think for him to grow, this is a good opportunity to kind of showcase to the CFL world that his offense can be elite. It wasn't the case yesterday. I mean, in the 2 weeks prior against Edmonton, against Ottawa, they did put up 30-plus points, 1-1 in those two games. But in this game against Hamilton, it just shows what this team can be as a negative effect of what they want to be. So I think for him, play calling will be key. I think for him, he's got to make sure that he's got the pass blockers in place to give Trevor Harris that time needed. If that doesn't happen, it makes Harris look a little more lethargic on the football field and doesn't help their cause. So I think for Calvillo and for this staff here, they got to put together strong game plans, and we'll find out next week against Winnipeg. Winnipeg's defense is really strong. That front four are a bunch of NASCAR dreadnoughts out there. So if they get early off and going over there, it could be a long day for Calvillo's offense trying to get that ball down the football field and scoring points against the defending champion, Grey Cup champions, that is.
But you did mention Geno Lewis, 8 for 154 yards in the loss last night. He's been a real bright spot for the Alouettes. I've loved watching Jeshurun Antwi play, too, the former Calgary Dino. Didn't do a lot last night. He's been up and down, but getting some regular snaps. I like seeing that. Before I let you go, I want to talk about the Montreal Canadiens, because they've had quite the offseason. How is the city of Montreal with the Canadiens today? Because Rod and I were in town, obviously. They were in the Stanley Cup final, and that town couldn't have been higher. And we know it's a Habs town as it is, but it was outstanding to go from that to the draft lottery, and now back to where we are. I think Ken Hughes and what they've been able to do has been really tremendous during the offseason. I think they've had a really good offseason, and I think the path is set. But how do you see what the Montreal Canadiens have done throughout the offseason?
Well, look, they're seller mode right now, Darren, for what they want to be. I mean, look, they look at last year's Game 5 loss at Tampa. The back end of the defenseman that they had in that game. Only one remains, Joel Edmondson, from that lineup in Game 5 when they lost to Tampa. It's a remarkable 12-month swing of where they were to where they are now. And I think the fans here are okay accepting that, look, Kent Hughes, Jeff Gorton are going to try to build this team from scratch with a plush full of prospects to work with. We know the one big fish out there that everyone would love to have in Montreal is Connor Bedard, who you know very well in your backyard in Saskatchewan. If they're able to get themselves Connor Bedard, I think that would elevate the hopes that this franchise is going in the right direction. But now moving forward here, guys like Brendan Gallagher, guys like Paul Byron, you look at Mike Hoffman included, Dadonov. These guys are guys that maybe they can offload come February at the trade deadline. And I think they're okay to accept, look, as long as they're competitive and they give fans a reason why to come to the Bell Center on a nightly basis to watch this team play, fans will show up. But also now for Martin St. Louis, he had that honeymoon for 3-4 months as the interim head coach. Now he's a full-time head coach. He just hired Stefan Robidaut to be his defenseman coach now, and he has no experience. Right now, the Habs staff right now, Alex Burrows has the most experience, and now it's like a year and a half coaching for him at the pro level. So now for Martin St. Louis, the rose petals have been thrown at him, but if they go on a 3-game losing streak or they go on a goalless drought, maybe 4 goals in 10 games, whatever it might be, how does he react with the criticism in this city that will be thrown at him from the media, from the fan base, on how this team plays? So I think it's going to be fascinating to see how this team develops under Martin St. Louis. It's a roll of the dice for Ken Hughes, right? Because I think for him being the GM of this franchise, people realize that, look, he may not be given the same leash as Marc Bergeron was given for 10 years, but he's got to make sure that these are the right moves he makes, whether it's the coach, player, through draft, acquisition, whatever it is, and that this team's going the right direction for him to be the GM of this franchise 4 years from now.
You're right. It's a young staff. almost like the frat house behind the bench. You know, he got these guys.
Pretty much, yeah.
And right? And we'll see how it works. By all accounts, you know, Martin St. Louis has done a great job, but you're right. He runs into adversity. What are they going to do? But I like the pieces they have. I think the future looks pretty bright again in Montreal. Before I let you go, we got a couple minutes. I wanted to give you an opportunity. I know there's been a loss in Montreal soccer.
Yeah, unfortunately, big loss for the city of Montreal and for the city province of Quebec. Jason Dutilio passed away early Friday morning due to brain cancer, and he fought this for, I think, almost 2 years. And this is a man who was well respected by many in the city of Montreal, across Quebec. He played for Team Canada as well. One of my buddies who played against him said pound for pound was one of the best players he ever witnessed in the city. It's a big loss. It's a big loss for the community, big loss for CFMTL of the MLS, because he was a part of their staff as an assistant coach when he got diagnosed with his sickness. And it's a big loss overall, Darren. And for Jason Dutilio, you know, we send our condolences to his family and to his football family as well on his loss. But no question, he left a huge impact on so many people, male and female soccer players across this province of ours, and will be sorely missed by all in this province.
Glad we got that in there, Mo. And
thank you.
I hope you feel better and can enjoy the weekend, my man. I appreciate catching up. It was good to see you.
Well, I got the Alliance Saskatchewan Rattlers game tonight on CBC Gem, so I have to be A-OK for that. I got to pull out my Jordan for that game tonight, but I should be okay for tonight's broadcast.
Your flu game.
It's my flu game, which is the science flu game for me.
Right. If the voice goes, Les Lazaruk in Saskatoon, vinegar packet. He said if you suck back a vinegar packet from the concession, you'll have a crystal clear voice for 20 minutes. So if you feel like punishment, there you go.
I'll try my best to avoid that during the game tonight.
Thanks, Mo.
Take care, man. Have a great weekend.
Mo Khan, TSN Montreal, and great to catch up with him. Text line is open, 902-518-3033. I said we'd get in there. I will get in there next. And also we're going to hear from Justin Dunk, I believe, who's lined up and ready to go from 3downnation.com. We're going to talk to Justin after the break. This is the Rod Pedersen Show. And the RP Show is presented in part by Edo Japan. With more than 160 restaurants nationwide, Edo Japan is proud to be Canadian-owned and operated for more than 40 years. We love ourselves some Edo Japan. Back with Justin Dunk from 3Down Nation after this, the RP Show on Game Plus TV, YouTube Live, and wherever you get your podcasts, including Apple, Stitcher, Spotify.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
A legend throws 713 yards in a single pro football game.
A legend wins 3 Grey Cup MVP awards.
Allen looking deep. A legend scores 1,209 points in 1,127 NHL games. Play among legends at betregal.net.
Are you ready? It's finally time for your next adventure, and it starts at Capital Ford. Custom order the perfect new vehicle for you, or reserve one of the hundreds that's already built and on its way. Can't wait? Get into a pre-owned vehicle that's already on the lot and ready to rock. Plus, the American Export event is back and bigger than ever. We'll send your vehicle south, making you the most money for your trade. Guaranteed. Oh, and for a limited time, all name brand tires are employee priced. Only at Capital Ford Lincoln. Your adventure starts here.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Some of the challenges we face with the CT technology that we have today is some of the deficiencies in around integration with some of our other systems. The addition of 2 new 4D simulators within the programming of the Saskatchewan Cancer Agency is going to have significant impact on the care we provide to the people of Saskatchewan.
The summer of hockey in Alberta continues, and the future of Team Canada is bright. The 2022 World Juniors return to Edmonton August 9th to 20th. Single game tickets available from $40. Buy now at hockeycanada.ca.
Grey Eagle Resort and Casino.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Oh, yeah, he's back. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hey, welcome back to the Rod Pedersen Show. I'm Darren Dupont in for Rod Pedersen, who's taking a well-deserved day off. So why don't you comment in right now with what you think Rod is doing on his day off? Why would Rod take a day off, and what's he doing with his day off? Let us know on YouTube or on the text line. You see it at the bottom of the screen, 902-518-3033. Text us with who you think is or what you think Rod is doing on his day off today. And we're going to head to the YouTube chat. I've got it up here. Randy in the Peg says, I like the owner in Montreal, Gary Stern, he's referring to. Hope they turn it around and hope the fans support them. I hope so. Don Mitchell says that Gary tore a strip off the CFL/TSN review booth on social media. What are your thoughts on that? He was asking Mo Khan. Well, we'll ask Justin Dunk that same question as we bring in the insider from freedownnation.com. JD, good to see your face, man. Heard your voice the other day, but good to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you live in person, buddy. You're rocking it.
I love it. I love it. So, Gary Stern, does he have a case when it comes to the review booth and the concussion protocol and what, people in Montreal are saying cost them the game line?
That's fair. I get it from the Montreal perspective, but we got to remember player safety is of the utmost importance here, and the concussion spotter is going to err on that side. Now, you can understand where Stern is coming from. He's the owner of the team. His quarterback gets pulled off the field in what could have been the deciding play for the Alouettes. I totally understand it from his perspective. But when we all step back, and when the CFL has their offseason meetings and especially talks to the CFL Players Association, they're always talking about player safety. So I think we need to err on that side. I understand. I think he does have a point. But if we're going to protect the players, we got to do it even in the most difficult situation.
And we don't mess around with head injury concussions. We know that. And I mentioned they're putting those silly guardian caps on the players in the NFL, right? Practice. And Rod was loosely joking, but it's all about protecting injuries. So that, segues into Cody Fajardo, who's listed as number 1 on the depth chart. Do you think that's legit and we're actually going to see Cody Fajardo play? And if so, what's the difference between the head and the knee? Is there no, risk to really doing more damage? And is it more of a pain thing, or what's the real situation?
First of all, the Rough Riders don't generally play mind games with their depth chart. So I got to take that at face value that if Fajardo is listed as the starter, that he's going to go. And he said all along that he's going to do everything he can to be on the field. And if it's up to him, he said early in the week, he's going to play. So you got to take Fajardo at his word. And, as for if he can do more damage to the knee, I was at the Touchdown Atlantic game, and post-game, he said that he suffered a major setback to what we now know is that MCL ligament damage, medial collateral ligament, in his left knee. So it's clear that that issue can get worse. And I still think, I've been saying this for a number of weeks now, we've written about it at 3downnation.com, that the prudent play would have been to sit Fajardo down for the Argos game last week, which he ended up being out due to being in COVID protocol, and this game this week against the Lions, because then you get the bye week, and then he almost gets a month off to heal that knee up for what is going to be a grueling stretch run with all the Western opponents that are on their schedule on the back part of that schedule for the Rough Riders. And if they want to win a home Grey Cup this season and be hoisting that trophy at Mosaic Stadium in November, the best chance for them to do it is going to be with a healthier Fajardo. So I think that's the prudent approach here, but it appears as so Fajardo is going to get the go. And if you're Rough Riders fans or even the coaching staff, Dickinson or Jamie O'Day, the general manager, you're literally crossing your fingers and toes and everything you can cross that he doesn't take another shot to that knee.
Yeah, we'll be watching that extremely close, which brings me to our poll question today. And, you know, for you, which of the two games tonight and tomorrow is more intriguing? You know, is it that game with Saskatchewan, BC tonight, getting Nathan Rourke back, and what's Cody Fajardo going to do? And we're all on pins and needles about that knee. Or is it the heavyweight battle in the West with Winnipeg and Calgary?
I love me some Canadian quarterbacks, and obviously Nathan Rourke has been great to start the season. But for my money this week, if you can only watch one of those games, it has to be the Blue Bombers traveling to face the Stampeders at McMahon Stadium to see if Calgary, coming off the bye week, can knock off the lone undefeated team left in the CFL. Oh, by the way, the two-time defending champs, because that is going to have a major factor in terms of if Winnipeg is going to go run away with the West Division and hide and be able to rest some guys down the stretch, or if Calgary is going to make it a real race for that top spot. That's how pivotal I believe that game is between the Stamps and Bombers.
All right, looking forward to that for sure. I want to shift gears and get some NFL talk in here because I know you follow it really closely. We'll start with CFL ties. You mentioned it, and I saw it up at 3 Down, but Braden Lenius was released by the Atlanta Falcons. Do you see him landing somewhere else in the National Football League? What do we know about the former Rider receiver?
It's difficult to see him potentially getting a contract elsewhere because he didn't get a chance to get any preseason NFL film. That would have been real critical for him to get picked up elsewhere. There were multiple other interested teams, and if you're Lenius now, you probably want to ride it out a little bit and see if you can get another NFL contract to get into training camp and possibly a preseason game, because that could be critical for you going forward. You know, not even necessarily with that team, but just to have that on tape to potentially get signed by the next team if you get released, if he does end up getting another contract in the NFL. So I would imagine he's going to play this out a little bit because he knows he can come back to the CFL and be a star. We all saw it with the Saskatchewan Roughriders, but I think he's at a point now where if he's NFL focused, he needs to take that shot. If nothing comes his way, then certainly, especially financially, it would be smart to come back to the CFL and make sure you're making money in your prime age. But for me, because he was released so early, he's probably feeling like he's so close to getting an opportunity, to getting some film down there, even if it's a preseason, I think he sticks it out longer.
Who else would be in that class? Who else are we watching right now that, you know, may trickle back to the Canadian Football League if things don't work out? And who might, you know, CFL fans be sitting there waiting that potentially could be reinforced?
The one guy that everybody's talking about is Chris Trevler, who signed with the New York Jets. And the Jets were actually trying to sign him before he had a brief stint with Miami Dolphins. This offseason went to organized training activities, got released by the Dolphins, and the Jets pick him up. Now, it's I don't want to say stacked quarterback depth chart in New York, but it's one that has some experience, right? You got Zach Wilson, who the Jets spent a high pick on. Joe Flacco's been a veteran, has won a Super Bowl. And then Mike White, who created some mania there last season when he started in place of an injured Wilson and looked pretty solid. So it's probably a real uphill battle for Strevler in New York to make that roster, but it'll be critical for him to get some preseason film, some fresh NFL film, and to try to show some other NFL teams that his arm has indeed been developing behind the scenes. You see on his Instagram, he's been putting in a lot of work. And I think that's the critical aspect here with the Jets. He gets signed by them, and even if he doesn't break camp with the Jets, him getting some preseason action, and from what I've been told, that should definitely be the case with Gang Green, could potentially benefit him. The one key here, Dupes, for Strevler, is he's 6 games away from securing that NFL pension that so many players want. That's all he needs is one accrued season to get that. So that's one guy that a lot of people in the CFL are watching, because Strevler has said if it doesn't end up working out in the NFL, he's definitely open to coming back to the CFL, but he's going to play out the NFL as long as he possibly can.
That's important to know, and it's not something we talk about a lot when it comes to fans and social media conversation. NFL pension, that's a big deal. So outside of the CFL stuff, what camp battles in the NFL are you most most interested in? Rod and I have batted around the Carolina Panthers and that quarterback battle, between Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield. Julio Jones just signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to replace Antonio Brown, which gives him a third weapon. And, if you can believe it, Julio Jones is going to be third on that, depth chart of receivers behind Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. Or your Buffalo Bills, man. I don't know if they're your Buffalo Bills, but, they're the odds-on betting favorites to win the Super Bowl. And people are, USA Today, I think, had Buffalo going like 15-3. So, what's caught your eye the most a couple of days in?
There's a lot of good stuff there, but I'll go to the Green Bay, and Aaron Rodgers walking in like Nicolas Cage drew a lot of attention. But I'm most curious about who's going to be the number one receiver there for the Packers, because they're going to get peppered with a bunch of targets if that's the way it goes. He sort of talked up Alan Lazard the other day after he walked in looking like Cage from Con Air, and I'm curious if it plays out that way. They selected Christian Watson high in the NFL draft. There's some Packers fans that I've talked to that really like him, and obviously the Packers did as well. So I'm curious to see if Lazard can take that next step. I don't think anyone's expecting him to be anywhere close to Davante Adams, but he's been an intriguing guy who's had a little bit of injury trouble, but you would imagine with more targets could be very productive. Because I think from a fantasy standpoint, he might be one of those value guys that you can get. So for me, that's where I'm looking, just because Rodgers, is coming off another MVP season and Davante Adams gets traded away, and he knew that was going to happen, but he still comes back to Green Bay and signs that massive contract. So he must have confidence in the receivers that are in the room.
Alan Lazard called him a Hall of Famer, and that was in response to Davante Adams calling Derek Carr a Hall of Famer. So that's kind of fun. I love seeing that stuff go back and forth. Guys, we're going to go just a couple more minutes, and we're going to have a really small segment on the other side when I'm sitting there by myself for the final segment of Hour 1. But rapid fire, this is going to be annoying, but I want to feed the fans here because that's what makes our show go. Nelson Hakowicz. Randy seemed very high on Genius Sports heading into the season, and their enhancement of league presentation seems underwhelming. Now, it's not something we've heard of a lot lately, but thoughts to Nelson's.
Yeah, I've talked to some people recently that are really high on Genius Sports. They were actually behind, I don't think a lot of people know this, the Nickelodeon NFL games. And there are people that feel like Genius Sports is incentivized to drive revenue for the CFL because they're going to get a cut of it in this deal that they've come up with where they're, part owner, I guess, for lack of a better term, with the CFL Ventures arm. So they're incentivized to bring in revenue for the CFL, but we got to see them do that in a tangible way. There's some things going on behind the scenes, but until the fans see it, there's going to be question marks.
This was the annoying one, but we love Ryan because he watches every day and is a P1, so I will ask you his question. But he says, great job, Darren. I'm wondering, do you and Justin think Atlantic Canada expansion is still a possibility? And if not, where will the CFL go? It's been a couple of weeks now.
It has, man. I sat down with Mike Savage, the mayor of Halifax, there for half an hour in his beautiful office in what they call Grand Parade, downtown Halifax. It's an awesome spot. And you could see a CFL team thriving there, but the conversation starts and ends with a stadium. Savage told me directly, there's no plans for a CFL-specific stadium, especially a stadium really of any kind outside the downtown area. Now, what Halifax Wanderers have set up, the Canadian Premier League soccer team that's there, is on the Wanderers grounds. It's all temporary stands. I think it holds, maybe 9, close to 10,000 fans. They pack it all the time. It's one It's in what's called the Halifax Common area. And Savage sort of alluded to it, that if the CFL can, I think, play ball with the city of Halifax and understand that there's going to be a modified venue, then there's a potential for a stadium. But until there is any real talk of a stadium and public funds going towards one from the city of Halifax, then expansion just can't be talked about in a real way.
Wait till we find a stadium, and then we'll go from there. Justin, I appreciate this. Tell me about the cottage and what's up for the weekend. It's a beautiful spot.
Oh, my goodness. We just got up here in Tobermory, just close to Georgian Bay, as some people might know. It's our family cottage, man. So awesome to be up here. We got my nephews up here, Liam Elliott, and my niece Cohen. So we're going to have a lot of fun. They got some of their friends coming as well. Right on the water. I would turn around and show it to you, but I don't want to rub it in too much. So just hanging out and having fun, you know, the Canadian long weekend at the cottage, buddy. What about you, Dupes? What do you got going on?
Enjoy it, man. Hey, you know I'm coming out your neck of the woods, Montreal, and then to Toronto. So we'll connect very, very soon, I'm sure. So I appreciate it. Enjoy the week.
Yes, sir, buddy.
All right. Justin Dunk from Free Down Nation, live from the cottage. Before we break, 23 players representing 8 members from across Canada have earned the opportunity to wear the Maple Leaf, the 2022 Hlinka Gretzky Cup in Red Deer. July 31st to August 6th. Get your tickets today. That's the Hlinka Gretzky Cup. And I know you had the World Junior logo in there, but we'll get to that coming up next. The Rod Pedersen Show here on Game Plus TV, YouTube Live, and streaming now at rodpedersen.com.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
The summer of hockey in Alberta continues, and the future of Team Canada is bright. The 2022 World Juniors return to Edmonton August 9th to 20th. Single game tickets available from $40. Buy now at hockeycanada.ca.
Are you ready? It's finally time for your next adventure, and it starts at Capital GMC. Custom order the perfect new vehicle for you, or reserve one of the hundreds that's already built and on its way. Can't wait? Get into a GM-certified pre-owned vehicle that's on our lot and ready to rock. Plus, the American Export event is back and bigger than ever. We'll send your vehicle south, making you the most money for your trade. Guaranteed. Oh, and for a limited time, all name brand tires are employee priced. Only at Capital GMC. Your adventure starts here.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG. Always delivering the best fan experience. Find us at ddgregina.com.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
People donate blood for moments like this.
But there are lots of reasons why Canada's Lifeline needs donors every day.
Like the fact that someone with leukemia can need up to 8 units of blood a week.
Or that donated blood lasts no longer than 42 days.
Or to help new moms and babies, like Henry.
There's lots of reasons to donate blood. That's why we need donors every day.
The need for blood is constant. Join Toyota and our Toyota dealers in supporting Canada's Lifeline.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Have you subscribed? Laid back and kicking it. Let's head back to the studio. Here's Rod.
All right, back to the Rod Pedersen Show. Darren Dupont in for RP on a Friday, and it's rolling along. We're almost halfway through the show here. You can text us, 902-518-3033. Mike in Winnipeg has done just that. Hi, Rod and team. As a Bomber fan, I would love the Riders to finish fourth in the West. Firstly, so that they possibly don't have to record a crossover to the East and miss the playoffs. But secondly, a crossover, win the East, and it's a Bombers-Riders Grey Cup. That would be wild. Cheers, Mike in Winnipeg. That would be wild if it was a Riders-Bombers Grey Cup. We know it would be, and it would be jammed. YouTube, Monty's watching and says hello. Randy from the Peg has a suggestion on what Rod's doing on his day off. He says, Rod went for lunch with Bo on his day off, tacos, then back to the bunker. So kind of fun that way. Don Mitchell, promising CFL specifics, but he's looking at the expansion in Atlantic Canada. Coming up next hour, Darrin Bauming from Bonfire Sports in Winnipeg will tee up that big Bombers Stamps game. Jim Mullin from Football Canada, and more with you. We're through hour one. We'll be back after this, The Rod Pedersen Show. Game Plus TV, YouTube Live, and wherever you get your podcast.
Have you subscribed to The Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop staffed by PGA of Canada professionals is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Are you ready? It's finally time for your next adventure, and it starts at Capital GMC. Custom order the perfect new vehicle for you, or reserve one of the hundreds that's already built and on its way. Can't wait? Get into a GM certified pre-owned vehicle that's on our lot and ready to rock. Plus, the American Export event is back and bigger than ever. We'll send your vehicle south, making you the most money for your trade. Guaranteed. Oh, and for a limited time, all name brand tires are employee priced. Only at Capital GMC. Your adventure starts here. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services, and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right.
A legend throws 713 yards in a single pro football game.
A legend wins 3 Grey Cup MVP awards.
Allen looking deep. A legend scores 1,209 points in 1,127 NHL games. Play among legends at betregal.net.
Lot of sun, smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Big time, big time, big time, big time. Big time.
The summer of hockey in Alberta continues, and the future of Team Canada is bright. The 2022 World Juniors return to Edmonton August 9th to 20th. Single game tickets available from $40. Buy now at hockeycanada.ca.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Right now, Darrin.
You know, Andre Dupont, the old Philadelphia Flyer tough guy, was nicknamed Moose.
And you being a tough guy.
Right. But in hockey, when I was younger, another player came across the middle and made the most devastating check I've ever made in my life. Take off the helmet, and it's a girl. And so the coach slapped it. Attaboy, Moose. Just like the Moose. And I'm like, I have no idea who that is, right?
The one sports show where roughing is encouraged.
Oh my gosh, Darren Dupont. Not a tough guy. Not a tough guy at all. Don't earn the nickname, but for some reason, it's sticking. Hour 2 on the air, on the podcast, wherever you may be listening, wherever you may be watching, whether it's YouTube, our wonderful partners across Canada and throughout the U.S. on Game Plus television, or maybe you are on the podcast, Spotify, Apple, Stitcher. Write in. Tell us where you're listening from. 902-518-3033 is the text line. 902-518-3033, and it's blowing up now. Randy's watching. He wanted to reiterate that Rod's having lunch with Bo on his day off. Jim Wagner says, Mr. Pedersen, best be watching the RP show today, right? Great lineup today. Thanks, guys. And that's in part to producer Clark. Put together a great lineup to just help me through the day and make sure we roll into the weekend on a great note. Wilf watching as well. I wanted to pull this up. There is a few texts. He thinks the Owls' loss is a result of the receiver stopping. He stopped running his pattern. Perhaps, for sure. It was a tough interception for Dominic Davis to give up late in that football game, to come in those tough circumstances, and the team's trying to come back, and Trevor Harris is upset. I understand all that. So it is difficult. Alan, the intern, the Asian Sensations watching today. He texts in, so Rod's not here today, and he's sure that he's thinking the Ricky the Iguana costume is gone as well. It's not a costume. The mascot's real, Alan, and it's still around. We miss you. We'll have to, we got to bring Ricky the Iguana back, and there he is, making an appearance on the screen. Ricky needs to make a return. Absolutely. We got a text from Brady as well. It says, hey, Darren, if the Riders were smart, they'd allow Cody to sit out one more week, take advantage of the bye week next week, allowing him to be out for 3 weeks to heal his knee. I'd like to see Dola Gala get another crack at it. Cody could come back for the long West, or for the, I'm assuming the long weekend or the long Western Division tilt. So that's Brady and Saskatoon. Happy weekend, Brady, and happy Friday to Darrin Bauming, who's standing by and joins us from Bonfire Sports, getting set for, I mean, you're going to be on the air this afternoon, getting set the day before the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, the Calgary Stampeders. How are you, my friend?
Yeah, I'm well, Darren. It's good to be with you. It's a busy time right now. You know, I'm writing hockey stories for NHL.com. 2 first-round picks the Winnipeg Jets had in this past draft. A couple other prospects, fans here in Winnipeg are excited to see. Real season of turmoil behind us. But, the story in Winnipeg, no doubt, is this 7-0 Winnipeg Blue Bombers team, back-to-back Grey Cup champs, finding fortune, finding a way to win, not beating up on everybody. They've had some good games this season, but they've also had some scares this season. They beat the Stampeders 2 weeks ago by a touchdown here in Winnipeg. It's going to be a great one on Saturday in Calgary. I think Bo's going to be a little bit fired up for this one.
Yeah, he absolutely will be. Okay, we'll start with the Bombers. We'll go to the Jets later. A couple of things, but let's start with this lineup. I mean, there's some good news coming out of Winnipeg. Nick Dembski's going to be back in the lineup. That's huge. But you're also going against the Calgary Stampeders lineup that we thought might look similar to what Saskatchewan had to put on the field a week ago. That's not the case.
Yeah, like when you saw the injury report a couple weeks ago, or a couple days ago, rather, and Danny Austin, a Post Media, doing a great job reporting out of Calgary, that, Jameer Thurman and Kadeem Carey and all these guys, either had COVID or pneumonia. Like pneumonia. Can you believe that? Like unbelievable to think that illness beyond COVID or beyond a stomach bug or the sniffles going through a locker room, how contagious that is, was really eye-opening to read this week. They, I guess, did what they needed to do. Everybody tested negative, and they've gone through the CFL's COVID protocol. They didn't name who the individual was, but Dave Dickinson did say that it was just one individual who had pneumonia, and hopefully nobody else at this point. And hopefully we're going to be able to play a game. It looks like we're going to be able to play a game on Saturday. But when you have names like Thurman and Kadeem Carey that were out this week in practice due to illness, it really put a scare into people. Here in Winnipeg, the health is more so when it comes to soft tissue injuries, upper body, lower body, and the rest. But it really would have been something, and disappointing from just a CFL fan's perspective if Calgary wasn't able to roll out some of their best players. I think Kadeem Carey is in the CFL MOP conversation. I might be alone in that. I don't think I am. He is just really something to behold, him and James Butler in BC, for my money. Maybe Andrew Harrison there as well, the top tailbacks in the league.
I couldn't disagree with you. I mean, it's been a great season, Gary, and kind of getting Calgary back on top, back on the map, conversation in the first place. But with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, I mean, back-to-back Grey Cup, that's outstanding on its own. But is this team getting even better? Like, when I look at the trajectory of a franchise, are they have they reached the peak yet? Was last season's Grey Cup the peak, or are they still climbing a little further?
Well, there's two ways to look at that, right? At least in my mind. One, people I talk to inside the organization, they say, the screws are so tight in a good way that they know what they need to do on a day-to-day basis, on a week-to-week basis, on a month-to-month basis, and going into and coming out of off seasons. They have a schedule, they have a plan, they know what works. That's clear. And the fact that they've been able to win 2 championships over the last 3 years and 2 seasons with that missed 2020 season, I think speaks to that. Then there's the roster. Right? We know that the mentality, the Mike O'Shea go 1-0 every week mentality is firmly in place, and that the veterans govern that locker room themselves. The guys that have been there 3-4 years, the Big Hills, the Jeffersons, even the Zach Colarises now, the Nick Dembskis, they teach the young players, the first and second year guys, that, hey, if we're down in a game, not a big deal. Look forward, look to the next play. If they have a tough game where a lot of things went wrong, flush it, move on, learn from the mistakes, and focus on the game ahead. We're 0-0. We want to get to 1-0 every week. That works. Then there's the roster. Is it aging? Maybe, probably. Stanley Bryant, Patrick Neufeld, Jamarcus Hardrick on the offensive line, all, longtime veterans in this league and all-star caliber players. But they're starting to take some time to, not practice every day during the week, take a veteran day, take a rest day. It's even listed officially in the daily injury reports on the league website. It's veteran rest. Defensively, Willie Jefferson, even a Jackson Jeffcoat who's only been in the CFL 4 or 5 years, had his opportunity, obviously, in the National Football League prior to that. So, he's closer to 30. Adam Bighill is in his 30s. Jefferson, as I mentioned, some of the players that aren't talked about often, some of those veterans like Jesse Briggs or Shane Gauthier, some of those real big special teams players. Obviously, Mike Miller, future Hall of Famer, the CFL's all-time leading special teams tackler, kind of like a player coach on this Blue Bombers team. He's obviously, got, I won't say his best football behind him because he's still phenomenal on the field, but the bulk of their careers, all of these individuals behind them. they're staying healthy for the most part. They've been really ravaged in the receiving core as of late. Greg Ellingson out, Carlton Agadosi, who steps in his CFL debut, pulled in 2 touchdowns against the Calgary Stampeders just a couple weeks ago. He's injured. Nick Dembski was a surprise today when the depth chart came out, Darren. He was on the 6-game injured list. He's going to be one of those 2 that they're allowed to bring off early. Comes off after 4 weeks instead of 6. That's a nice return to the lineup, but offensive line, defensive backfield, they've had their fair share of nicks and cuts and bruises, but they're still 7-0. They found a way to win.
No, they sure have. And there's a lot of paths to victory here for Winnipeg to continue that and go to 8-0. But what scares you the most? If Calgary is going to beat Winnipeg, what's going to happen?
Well, they're going to shut down Winnipeg's offense. And by shut it down, not an easy task. But the way teams have found success defensively against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers is to limit their run game. This is no longer an Andrew Harris straw that stirs the drink here in Winnipeg. So often it's feed 33 the ball over and over and over again, and you're going to get 80, 90, 100 yards and probably 130 combined from him, and over 100 on the ground combined as a team. Winnipeg's always had a dynamic, balanced offense with the pass game off the arm of Zach Collaros. We know how dangerous that can be for the reigning CFL MOP. And then the run game really helping everything stay balanced. Set up play action, keep defenses honest, keeping them playing close to the line of scrimmage in the box. Teams that have found success against Winnipeg this year have limited that run game. It's Brady Oliveira and it's Johnny Augustine. It's definitely not the same Andrew Harris smack you in your mouth run game that it has been for the last number of years here in Winnipeg. So they're trying to get it going. Brady Oliveira had his best game production-wise last week in their win in Edmonton, but still was a 58-yard rusher. That was his best so far this season. So they're going to continue to run the football and try to get it going. But if you want to stop Winnipeg and you want to make it difficult on Zach Collaros and a very talented group of receivers and players on offense, you got to stop the run.
Couple more minutes left. I want to switch gears to the Winnipeg Jets before we let you go. Because just talking to some of the young draft picks. But everybody wants to talk about Pierre-Luc Dubois, who signed the deal. Is Pierre-Luc Dubois, and I think it came in from John in the chat, is Pierre-Luc Dubois trade bait now, or how do you see this playing out?
Certainly he is. Certainly he is. He's been anything of concrete and certain that he wants to continue his career here in Winnipeg. He's talked about his time in Columbus and how, from one year to the next, well, I got a girlfriend. Maybe she'll be my wife. Maybe I'll have kids. Where will I be? I'm not going to blame a player for being cautious for their future. If you sign a 6 or 7 year deal and then 2-3 years go by, or even 1 year goes by and your circumstances change, you might regret signing long-term with a no trade clause or a no move clause or a modified or whatever it might be. But in the case of Pierre-Luc Dubois, and specifically here in Winnipeg, the reason I can't blame the guy is that there has been so much turmoil and strangeness seething under the surface when it comes to the Winnipeg Jets. Darren, I'll ask you and your audience, when's the last time you heard a National Hockey League coach quitting mid-season? I don't think it's happened in the modern era. But that's what Paul Maurice did less than a year ago, mid-season, to said, they need a new voice. There's been reports and speculation that the leadership inside the locker room conflicts with one another or conflicts with the team or the coaching staff. They decide to bring in a new coach and a veteran and somebody who has a lot of experience here as a player and a coach through the Jets 1.0 era in the 80s and 90s, and that's Rick Bowness. A lot of people thought Rick Bowness would retire after his time with the Dallas Stars most recently, but he's back here in Winnipeg and a great personality and a great man. I've always enjoyed my interactions with him, and I'm looking forward to this season. But whether it's the captain, Blake Wheeler, Mark Scheifele, who made it clear after the season that, he is, potentially looking for another destination or his second professional hockey home after being the first draft pick ever in this franchise's history after moving from Atlanta. So lots of question marks of where they are, the moves they need to make. And if you're Pierre-Luc Dubois and you're like how old is he? He's not even, he's like 25. He has got his best hockey ahead of him, a true power forward, a centerman with tons of offensive ability and the ability to score anytime the puck's on his stick. If you're him, I don't think you would do anything different. It's not like Winnipeg is right on the verge of winning. They missed the playoffs last year. Yes, they have a Vezina Trophy goaltender and winning goaltender in Connor Hellebuck, but lots of question marks of the defense and defensive system that they play and what this roster will look like, not just this season, Darren, but in the couple seasons to come.
Yeah, great update. I mean, I'm big on expectations versus reality. I really believe that anxiety and all of that we see and mental health problems and struggles happen when reality doesn't meet expectations. We set unrealistic expectations in our mind. So let's help out all the Jets fans and help me set some expectations for the Jets for this year. Because you talked about Wheeler and you talked about Scheifele, you talked about Dubois. None of these situations have been solved. You don't know if Connor Hellebuck's going to be able to get back to Vezina form, what direction they're going in. So what should the expectation be for this coming season?
That's the forever conversation in Winnipeg since, they missed the playoffs last year before the season ended. Fans are always going to be evergreen optimistic, right? They're going to hope their team is able to find something and make it happen. They got Nikolai Ehlers. They've got Josh Morrissey and Neil Pionk, a very offensively gifted defenseman. They got Connor Hellebuck. They have Kyle Connor, who is clearly capable of a 50-goal season in his future and just won a major NHL award. They have talent. They have a new coach that is defensive minded, which has kind of been maybe their Achilles heel. Lots of firepower, but not a lot of defensive soundness and relying on Connor Hellebuck to, maybe carry them through. Expectations, it's hard to set them. The team will say, we expect to be better, we expect to make the playoffs, and we expect that to be a consistent thing for the years to come. The realists are saying, well, it's been so uncertain for the last 18, even 24 months. They made big moves a year ago in the offseason, acquiring Nate Schmidt to help bolster that top four on the back end, to acquire Brendan Dillon, to add some size to a smaller defense core and bring some physicality and stability to that top four in the defense core. They signed David Riddick. Is that going to give Connor Hellebuck an easier workload or maybe have a little bit more of a veteran stability when they aren't playing their number one guy? That's possible. But right now, yeah, they're young and for the most part, and they're talented, but it's just the uncertainty that we've witnessed here over the last season and a half that really makes you wonder if they are in the right direction, if they are going to trade their captain, if they are going to trade their first line or even second line center, whether that's Dubois or Scheifele, that's up to each individual person of who that top line center is. So for those reasons, I think it's very difficult to put expectations objectively on this upcoming season.
At the very least, it'll be fun to watch and
yes,
plenty to write about, my man. Hey, you got the pregame show coming up this afternoon. Enjoy that. Bonfire Sports, find that. YouTube, Twitter, where else can they find it?
Yeah, youtube.com/bonfiresports. You can find everything on our podcast links, bonfiresports.ca. The legendary Chris Walby, I got him live at 3 o'clock today, Central Time. We have a blast. And if you don't know who Chris Walby is, tune in. You will not be disappointed. Not only is he a Hall of Fame player, 10-year broadcaster with the CBC, but he's also one of the biggest and most hilarious personalities you'll see in football today.
We'll be watching, Darren. Have a great show. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks, buddy. You bet. Cheers.
All right. Darren Bauming from Bonfire Sports. We're late for a break, so we'll be back. The Rod Pedersen Show, Game Plus TV, YouTube Live, and wherever you get your podcast.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Are you ready? It's finally time for your next adventure, and it starts at Capital GMC. Custom order the perfect new vehicle for you, or reserve one of the hundreds that's already built and on its way. Can't wait? Get into a GM certified pre-owned vehicle that's on our lot and ready to rock. Plus, the American Export event is back and bigger than ever. We'll send your vehicle south, making you the most money for your trade. Guaranteed. Oh, and for a limited time, all name brand tires are employee priced. Only at Capital GMC. Your adventure starts here.
A legend throws 713 yards in a single pro football game.
A legend wins 3 Grey Cup MVP awards.
Allen looking deep. A legend scores 1,209 points in 1,127 NHL games. Play among legends at betregal.net.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
The summer of hockey in Alberta continues, and the future of Team Canada is bright. The 2022 World Juniors return to Edmonton August 9th to 20th. Single game tickets available from $40. Buy now at hockeycanada.ca.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience. Find us at ddgregina.com.
People donate blood for moments like this.
But there are lots of reasons why Canada's Lifeline needs donors every day.
Like the fact that someone with leukemia can need up to 8 units of blood a week.
Or that donated blood lasts no longer than 42 days.
Or to help new moms and babies, like Henry.
There's lots of reasons to donate blood. That's why we need donors every day.
The need for blood is constant. Join Toyota and our Toyota dealers in supporting Canada's Lifeline.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Bernie Nichols joins us as he does every week. I'm wondering, you obviously watched the game. What do you expect in Game 4?
I've always said in the playoffs, home ice and coaching doesn't really mean a lot, right? Like a lot of teams play better on the road than they do at home. And I've always said, too, until you lose a home game, you're never in trouble. And I expect Tampa to win tomorrow and then see if Colorado hold home ice when they get back home.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Final day before a long weekend. No show Monday, so set your calendars so you can enjoy your Monday. We'll be off the air Monday, back on Tuesday, regular time, noon Eastern, 10 noon Eastern, 10 a.m. Mountain Time. We'll be back. Rod will be back in the chair Tuesday as well. He's taking a much-deserved day off. First one I can remember in a long time. And so he's enjoying a long weekend right now. And we say hello and happy weekend to everybody who may be watching here all across Canada and throughout the United States on Game Plus Television, YouTube, or maybe you're listening to the podcast on Apple, Spotify, or one of the other several podcast platforms we're on, like Audible and Amazon. You can text us now, 902-518-3033. What's on your mind heading into the weekend? What do you want to discuss? Well, let's bring back Genier into the show. he's not only our COO, he's not only our co-host, he's our resident Formula One analyst as well, because he's all over it. And I don't know how much you're paying attention to Hungary 2022 and the event happening. They're getting set for practice number 3 in about 17 and a half hours or so. They're in a little bit of a rest period, but obviously you're up to date on it and ready for the weekend.
Every weekend it's on, I'm following it, and all the controversy that goes on around it. It's like as the world turns. So I love it.
It is like the world turns, and there is news. Sebastian Vettel from Aston Martin has announced he's going to retire at the end of this season. His 2-year contract is up at the end of the year, although they talked about a third season. This is the Stroll team, right? Lance Stroll, right? The Canadian kid, and his dad owns the team, and the Aston Martin team. They haven't been performing that well. Vettel's been in the spotlight, and when it comes to things he's said on social media, and you've talked about it, he's mentioned the Alberta oil sands. This is a highly publicized move because Vettel's had a lot of success in this sport, right?
Yeah, he has for sure. I mean, and when it comes to driving, he's a great driver. But yeah, he came out with some very political stances. And being part of the WEF is one of the young leaders, I think, has certainly hurt him. And, he took a stance against Canadian oil, and it was very hypocritical considering that one of the major sponsors of F1 is Aramco. So, you know what, that may have come into play, but, just trying to keep, with the F1 making so many inroads into the U.S., with Vegas coming online next year as well, they don't want to have any negative controversy in that respect because those cars run on gas, so it would serve them well to not take a shot at Canadian oils.
There is a Formula E series, right? A Formula E.
Yes.
So they're trending maybe towards the electric vehicle, but not today. And you're right, Sebastian Vettel is fueled by by oil. But it brings me to another, to a point. You brought up the politics, and you've been in front offices. You've been a part of expansion franchises. You've been a part of moving to new communities, building fan bases, and you've been a part of organizations that have had, decades and decades of roots in the same community. When it comes to athletes voicing their opinion on, topical subjects, political subjects, current affairs, things that are important, where do you sit as, an executive on that? Because on the one hand, it's really important for athletes and for personalities that have big platforms to use those platforms, but it also takes away from the game as well. And it's a delicate balance, and Sebastian Vettel has ruffled a lot of feathers, right? And taken some of the attention off of the auto racing and put it to some of the political views. So where do you sit on athletes, bringing their personal views into it?
I think fans of any sport, whether it's hockey, football, basketball, when it actually comes to the sport, I think people want to go and watch a sport and they want to keep politics out of it. They're there to watch a game. They're there to watch their favorite players and their team win, right? So athletes obviously have a great platform, and when they do it on their own and on their own time, I think that's great. I know while organizations tie themselves to certain charities and they activate in game or whatever that may be, but you know what? At the end of the day, you're on your employer's dime, right? So again, you have to respect your employers as well. Like I say, and we've seen some migration away from some of the sports, and people do not like to see the politics involved in the game. And I know it's been a very hot topic issue over the last few years in the NBA, in the NFL. But at the end of the day, like I say, fans are going there to see a team play, and like I say, not to get too involved in politics. As we've seen, is the Gary Bettmans of the world, the Roger Goodells, when they're at games, they're getting booed. And like I say, is people just want to watch their players play, and that's what they're paying for the price of their ticket.
We've seen it, and I've seen the ratings get pulled. And you and I were talking about this, in our pre-show meeting. The NBA is very political, and their athletes talk about issues all the time. And what we've seen over the last 3 to 5 years is the ratings in the NBA have gone down. And the NFL, Rod's talked about it. COVID doesn't exist in the NFL. COVID doesn't exist. They don't acknowledge it. They don't talk about it. They've got all the policies in place. They're taking all the product. They do all the testing. They've got rules, but they don't talk about it. The NFL ratings have never been higher. They continue to climb every year because they talk about football and they want to keep it on brand to football. And I understand the athletes. So if you have a brand and there's something you're passionate about, and there are things going on that you don't want to be quiet about. We've seen a lot of great causes, whether it's Black Lives Matter, I mean, you name it, that have been very, very positive. But it's a fine line when it comes to taking the story away from what's going on the field.
Yeah, and it is, I think, too much. And right now, like I say, the very progressive conservative side of things, like I say, is I say leave that, at the door, and at the door of the stadium. And once you're inside the stadium, inside the arena, on the field, is to let that stuff go. And by all means, as they can attach their names to it, and in their personal time. But like I said, I've been in the world of sports too long to, like I say, is to again deter from the game itself and everything that owners and management put into making a team run.
Okay, lastly, and I know we got to go, we got to run here, we're up against the break, but the RPShow and Formula One or Formula E, we've had these conversations. You're on the business side. I love that. Got these fresh ideas. So tell me about the Rod Pedersen Show and Formula. Why is that something that would be great?
Oh, in Formula One, I mean, it's all about the event, is that it starts Wednesday, the parties, the attention attracts. I mean, you're talking some of these events for 350,000 people. So, I mean, as we go down the path, we're going to get more involved in Formula One and in Canada and the US, and just really following the entire circuit for the season. And like I say, it's growing immensely. And, the new event that happened in Miami, my God, it was huge. And Vegas is going to be amazing. And, hey, again, going to the moon.
I love it. Lee's got some great ideas. And that's just one of the things we've talked about and where this show is going to go. So, Lee, appreciate it. We'll bring you back on for overtime, okay? And we'll get to a couple more.
I'll see you in overtime.
Awesome. Jim Mullin, the president of Football Canada, is lined up and ready to go next here on the show. So we'll be back after this break. Text line is open, 902-518-3033. And we'll be back. The Rod Pedersen Show on Game Plus TV, YouTube Live, and wherever you get your podcasts, including Apple, Stitcher, and Spotify.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
The summer of hockey in Alberta continues, and the future of Team Canada is bright. The 2022 World Juniors return to Edmonton August 9th to 20th. Single game tickets available from $40. Buy now at hockeycanada.ca.
Grey Eagle Resort and Casino.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right.
People donate blood for moments like this.
But there are lots of reasons why Canada's Lifeline needs donors every day.
Like the fact that someone with leukemia can need up to 8 units of blood a week.
Or that donated blood lasts no longer than 42 days.
Or to help new moms and babies, like Henry.
There's lots of reasons to donate blood. That's why we need donors every day.
The need for blood is constant. Join Toyota and our Toyota dealers in supporting Canada's Lifeline.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Did you know you can catch all the best moments from the show on all our social media platforms? Now, back to the studio with Rod.
All right. Welcome back to the Rod Pedersen Show. Darren Dupont here. Rod's on vacation, taking a day off and a long weekend. He'll be back Tuesday. And a programming note, no show on Monday. So thank you for watching wherever you may be watching. Game Plus Television all across this great country or into the U.S., you might be listening to the podcast, or you may be watching on YouTube. Say good morning, good afternoon, and we say, I think, good morning to our next guest, Jim Mullin. Is he out on the island, or where are you, Jim? You're all over the place lately, because this is a busy season for you. This is probably your busiest time of the year.
Yeah, I know that you were hoping for a visit back to Bowen Island in the middle of the summer. That is not the case. I'm in Aldergrove Corners right now at a motel. And actually, this is a room in a white spot that they gave me to do this interview. So this is the glamorous life that I lead. One of the reasons that I'm out here right now is that we're planning to broadcast on the Olympic channel all of the Team Canada games at the Women's World Football Championship that's in Helsinki. I originally planned to be in Helsinki, but we're going to go down a rather interesting technical path on this. My color person is going to be in Montreal. I am going to be in Surrey, BC. We're going to be receiving a signal from Helsinki, and we're going to be sending it to Spain so people can see it around the world. So if you can follow my line of logic there, that's how we're putting these games together. We'll have all three games that Canada is involved in. The three-time silver medalist. I'm not sure if I need to tell you who the three-time gold medalist is, but it is the United States. And Finland's going to be tough there as well as the home team. It's an 8-team tournament. The last time it was run was back in 2017 in Langley, BC, not far away from where I am right now. And Canada played solid against the United States in that game. Before, the United States had basically shut everybody out with the exception of Germany, who had scored one touchdown against them. It was an 11-point game going into the fourth quarter until the Americans decided to hit the gas. So we're hoping for a competitive gold medal game if Canada can make it there, but it starts with Australia. This is one of the reasons why I'm in a motel, is that I have the call of this game at 3 a.m. Pacific. How did I draw 3 a.m. Pacific? I've been trying to get on to Finland time now over the last 3 or 4 days. So I woke up at 3 this morning, to get ready for a 3 a.m. game because I have to be in the studio at midnight Pacific. But the start time of these games will be a lot better moving forward. They'll be at 6 a.m. Pacific and at 9:30 a.m. Pacific when we get into the semifinals on the 3rd of August and the finals on the 7th of August.
Oh boy, what a schedule. But, that's awesome. And, it's funny, Don wrote in on YouTube and he says, Jim, you have much more faith in the global communication system than I do. With the pinging satellites everywhere.
This is challenging in terms of having to connect a production crew in Finland with a production crew in Vancouver here, and then the Olympic Broadcast Center in Spain, in Milan. There's a number of different technical ways we need to communicate with each other for signal distribution and to make sure that the signal doesn't drop out, that it's a quality signal, and we're adding elements to the basic broadcast, the basic international broadcast that is coming out of Finland. I thought it was important for Football Canada to get ahead on this. If we hadn't have stepped up in this space, there would not have been English broadcasts coming out of a Women's World Championship. And one of the reasons why our color announcer is out of Montreal is that I wanted a qualified female color announcer, and we've got Aaliyah Palmer, a former national team member, to join me. So having a color person 3,000 miles away is going to be a challenge. Hey, in the past, I worked with David Benefield in the same box, and he was 3,000 miles.
Yeah, no, totally, and I completely understand that, and David does too. So
I love you, Dave.
It's totally great. But I know. Well, it's funny. You talk about the women's game, and how far it's come and how much it's growing, but you've been around the Football Canada Cups now, and you've handing out those different trophies, U18s, and all of that, and growing the game is always something that's important. So as we check in again, where are we at on that? I mean, at the CFL level, we got Victor Cui moving and shaking, and he's going to start speed dating at the Edmonton Elks games potentially with the singles mixers. But it's all in an effort to grow the game. And how have you seen the game grow in this?
Well, the one thing that's been really encouraging for us is that our numbers have bounced back in a lot more of an aggressive way than we thought. We were somewhat pessimistic coming out of the pandemic. We're on track right now to have the same number of registrants and the same number of participants playing football at the U18 level as we did back in 2016. And I will say that's a bit of a surprise. We didn't anticipate the pent-up demand. There are more kids playing flag football. The tackle numbers have remained fairly steady. The one area that we see a lot of growth in the tackle numbers is on the female side. So those are encouraging signs. However, I think that one of the challenges that has never gone away is safety. And we have to continue to aggressively pursue the safety file. We've talked to the Concussion Legacy Project about how we might be able to work with them on studies moving forward that are specific to Canadian football. And we've struck an agreement for 3 years with the Canadian Football Players Association. I think the piece with the CFLPA that got a lot of notice was the First Down program that's targeted for kids between the ages of 4 to 8. But there's a safety piece we're working with them on too that will take about a year to develop. And it's a holistic approach from when you enter the game to when you exit the game. And there's several other opportunities there as well with the CFLPA is we want to bring active players into coaching and active players into officiating. And the CFLPA and our communications with them over the last 2 years are all about learning opportunities for their players. So we've got plenty of opportunities for athletes to get engaged, be it at the pro level or at the amateur level. And I'm really encouraged from the discussions that we've had with the PA over the last 2 years that it's turned into something like this.
That's exciting. I'd love to hear it and see where it's going. I didn't want to let you go without bringing up John Mechie, and he won the Cornish Trophy as the top Canadian playing in U.S. college football, but recently had a cancer diagnosis. I know you know him really well through your time and through the award. What were you thinking when you found out that news?
Well, the one thing that I was thinking is that this kid's a fighter. Some people will not know that he was diagnosed with a heart defect while he was playing prep football and had to park himself then and work through that health challenge. So if there's a guy out there that's more than prepared to psychologically get a handle on a challenge like this, it's John. I've talked with him about that chapter in his life. Obviously, haven't had a chance to reach out to him since he was drafted in the NFL. But I do believe that, from my understanding and my discussions with him about his earlier challenges, it's almost like he's already been through this once. And that he's going to get the best of care. That there's a very high survival rate here. The only thing that is, I think, really tragic about this when we get out on the other side of it is it's going to take John Mechie off the football field for a year. And we want to see him out there. His family wants to see him out there. And, Godspeed to John.
Couldn't have said it better, Jim. Appreciate this. We'll let you go. Enjoy it. I don't know. Drink lots of coffee for that 3 a.m. start time, and hope to get out there and see you again soon.
Yeah, looking forward to having you back on the coast sometime, Darren.
Awesome. Jim Mullin is the president of Football Canada. He's also host of Crown Gridiron Nation on TSN. He's play-by-play this weekend, so you can watch that, the Women's Championship. We'll be back for overtime. One more segment in the books. Lee Genier will be back in. We'll pick up our conversation, and we'll get you set for the weekend. Anything on your mind going into the weekend, 902-518-3033. We'll take care of some business on the other side of the break. The Rod Pedersen Show here on Game Plus TV, YouTube Live, and if you're listening on the podcast, you can catch us on Apple, Stitcher, Spotify.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Some of the challenges we face with the CT technology that we have today is some of the deficiencies in around integration with some of our other systems. The addition of 2 new 4D simulators within the programming of the Saskatchewan Cancer Agency is going to have significant impact on the care we provide to the people of Saskatchewan.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
Are you ready? It's finally time for your next adventure, and it starts at Capital GMC. Custom order the perfect new vehicle for you, or reserve one of the hundreds that's already built and on its way. Can't wait? Get into a GM certified pre-owned vehicle that's on our lot and ready to rock. Plus, the American Export event is back and bigger than ever. We'll send your vehicle south, making you the most money for your trade. Guaranteed. Oh, and for a limited time, all name brand tires are employee priced. Only at Capital GMC. Your adventure starts here.
A legend throws 713 yards in a single pro football game.
A legend wins 3 Grey Cup MVP awards.
Allen looking deep.
A legend scores 1,209 points in 1,127 NHL games. Play among legends at BetRegal.net.
Grey Eagle Resort and Casino.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right. Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You got something to say? You want to add to the show? What are you waiting for? Don't just sit there. Say something. Now, back to the studio with Rod.
Welcome back. Overtime on the air, presented by the Four Seasons Sports Palace. Your home for the CFL this weekend, and two big games. The Riders tonight against the BC Lions, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, the Calgary Stampeders on Saturday night. And that was our poll question. Which game is more intriguing to you? That battle between Cody Fajardo and Nathan Rourke, or is it the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, the Calgary Stampeders in that heavyweight West Division battle? What's the results now, Clark? Yeah, 58% Winnipeg, Calgary still on that one. Let's take care of some business, Lee, and then I want to talk about some more business because things are popping off. Edmonton is hosting the World this summer. The World Juniors are back August 9th, 20th. Purchase your tickets today. And if you want to win tickets, text the words World Juniors to 902-518-3033. Text World Juniors to 902-518-3033. Be entered to win 2 tickets to a game of your choice. Also, head to our Facebook page and be entered to win a grand prize, a luxury suite for 10 to the gold medal game. Or sorry, not the gold medal game. My apologies. It's the August 13th game, Canada, Czechia, August 13th. And we've got a luxury suite available that we're giving away. So head to our Facebook page and enter the contest. And finally, I haven't ranted today, Lee. Even when we talked about politics, I don't think either one of us ranted, but if we did, it would have been for Bronco Plumbing and Heating. To schedule maintenance or to learn more about our services, call 306-781-2090 or visit broncoplumbing.com. And more business, Lee, is coming up in August. On the 21st is the 163rd running of the $1 million Queen's Plate, the first jewel of the OLG Canadian Triple Crown, the thoroughbred race, right? At our beautiful friends, Woodbine, who are now another official RPShow partner. Happy to have Woodbine on board in the 163rd Queen Plate.
So exciting and see where we're moving and some major events happening, and we're so happy to be part of them. And all of our friends over at Woodbine as well. So,
love those people over there. I mean, we'll remember a couple of years ago they were in the pandemic. We had them on as a partner. Happy to have them on here again. Have you ever been to a Queen's Plate or a Kentucky Derby or a major event? Because I haven't.
I haven't been to the Queen's Plate or Kentucky Derby, but it's on the list for sure. I've been to a lot of events, but it's all about the hats. That's so I got to come up with my hat game. I really got to up my hat.
I don't know if I've ever seen you in a hat. Can you pull off a hat? Because Leanne and I had this struggle because I struggled to find a hat that fits an odd shaped head. And I can't wear a hat. The odd ball cap, if it's the right fit, I can wear and I will. But are you a hat guy?
No, during Stampede, a cowboy hat. But, when I was younger, I would wear ball caps. I just can't wear them anymore. And look at this hair. Look at our hair. We can't mess that up.
Beautiful.
No, you
battle of the hair today. So.
Exactly. I was going to say, we're going to crash the internet with with the hair on the show today. But oh boy, I guess what's going on with you over the weekend? What do you got planned? Rod's out in the mountains somewhere doing something, enjoying the long weekend. What about you?
Yeah, at some point I'm going to find some water and just try to cool off. And it's going to be hot. It's hot. There is some thunderstorms coming in here, and when it gets this hot, there are going to be some crazy thunderstorms. So I'm just going to try to take some time and just relax and decompress over the weekend and get out, a little exercise, maybe a little float down the river, all of it together.
That's the best. Hey, final thoughts too on the CFL, right? 2 big games here. They are fired up. Jeff, the Stamps fan, we haven't heard from him today. He's been in the chats of watching. He's happy to see Winnipeg's best and Dembski back in the lineup because he wants Calgary, obviously, to beat the best team possible, and no excuses on the field. It'll be a fun weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be a great weekend of the game tonight, the Rider game tonight, Stamps game tomorrow night. So a lot of great football on tap, which is awesome. And I'm going with Riders tonight, and I'm going with Stamps tomorrow. So we'll see how that plays out on Monday.
And
on Tuesday.
And I'm taking BC Winnipeg. I wanted to say hi to the Snowman who was watching in Indiana all morning. Appreciate that, Snowman, you checking in. For the rest of you, no show Monday. We'll see you on Tuesday. Have a great weekend. Follow our social media channels in the meantime, and we'll see you Tuesday here on Game Plus TV. Thanks, Lee.
Jordan has the bladder of a camel.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. Approved. That's hot. Hot damn. And that's cheap. Beautiful. Bingo.